let's get on with it. Well, we're here, so we might as well get on with it. Debatable art desire. Let us help ourselves. Let us help ourselves by being ourselves. Ourselves. Ha 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 ha. Moken. Yeah, of course. Cliche, me, mask. What we are here in this electronic, visual, audio, social media message is to discuss the storytelling of Mr. Vane and how we are going to try to present any of these stories. We've got one, well, the story's finished at least. It's a short story. It's our first time doing it. We're not a full production type studio, and we're sub-physical, trying to operate in the physical realm. It's difficult enough for the physical to operate in the physical realm and do things like this, so you may imagine how much more you add to those problems when you're of the sub-physical. The energy balance is always an issue, for one. Of course, ethics and protocols and are different. Abilities differ, etc., etc., etc. However, one of the main reasons in Vane's sight to doing what we do is to attempt to bridge somewhat of these gaps, try to understand each other. Sort of. Alright. The story we're going to put on with this. It's probably also going to have its own special, just for its own split, just for the story, so you don't have to deal with all this introduction again. And we probably will just put this introduction without the story, because it's going to explain, well, how Mr. Vane does stories, how we are doing them. Maybe that'll help. Maybe it won't. And let's see. Well, we wrote some notes. We made notes, production notes for this. Hopefully that helps you out. As you know, I ramble. And I brought a flashlight this time. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, of course, it's a ghost flashlight. Splashlight. Splashlight. Neon light. Okay. Well, Mr. Vane, as you may have understood from anything before, he likes to draw, and he likes to tell stories. He likes to make up stories. He's done with doing it all his life. Not really done anything with it, because, whatever, people, it doesn't matter why, nothing's ever happened with it. But he does it because of his own pure enjoyment of it. He shares with people, some people, friends, whatever, family, are privy to these stories and pictures, whatnot. But on the most part, he just does them for his own personal enjoyment. But he would like others to share in on it, because whatever, why write a story if you don't want someone else to read it? But Mr. Vane's kind of, well, he's not one to self-promote. Ironically, being his name is Mr. Vane, it doesn't mean he's conceited or self-promoting. He just means he's satisfied with his own brilliance, if you want to use the word. So, he'll draw a picture sometimes, just based on whatever, seeing something, and get this idea that he wants to draw a picture, and he'll draw a picture. And then it'll be a picture of a person, made-up person, and he'll make up a story for that person. And whatever, or just that scene. One of his favorite persons that he ever made up is the character of Mania, who we've discussed previously. We won't go too much in here. But he comes up with other characters and stuff, and they have little stories, stuff, whatever. Now, Mr. Vane is a fan and very, actually quite knowledgeable. Reads a lot, watches a lot of documentaries and stuff about history, mythology, theology, etc. So a lot of these characters and stuff are, as we would put it, side characters that you didn't know existed in some of these mythologies and stuff, and whatever, you know. They're made up stories. They're not to be taken as actual history is what he's saying, you know. They're made up stories out of his own freaking whatever. And we would like to share some of them with you because we do think some of them are quite interesting. Alright, we want to make a couple of things clear to help you navigate this story. This first one that we're going to do. When Mr. Vane writes some characters, especially characters that you're not familiar with, he likes to describe them as what they represent, I suppose. For instance, I'll give you an example. The three main characters in the story, they have actual names, but he will also refer to them as representatives of where they're from. Say like Quiver, he will also refer to as the sea, as she represents a sea nymph. Okay, we'll get that later. I'm not going to get too much into it, so I want you to experience the story. You'll get it in the story. And then there's Rifle, who is the jungle, and then there's the beach, or the beach beauty, who is the third main character. There's one other character in here, but she's kind of on the, well, you'll see. These are stories from an idea, a anthology thing that Mr. Vane has got going on in his head, I suppose. His head, our projection. It's called The Nymphs de Mania. Yeah. Okay? And all this is in Vane's sight. This is ours. It's for us. Don't be a minion. Be stealing things. Claim them as your own, as such. That it? I believe that was it. Yep. Oh, the artwork. The artwork's a little... You'll see it's kind of varied. It's all... Well, most of it is original hand-drawn by Mr. Vane, colored, messed with with like Windows colorings and stuff like that. Authentic. Anyway, here, check this out, look. Alright, that is the scene Mr. Vane drew originally, which inspired this whole entire story. Okay? That's an original drawing, and then coloring by Mr. Vane. Right? That's it. We're going to stop right here and let you on so we can get the story going on. Alright? Hope you like it. Well, hope you'll at least give it a chance. Don't be a minion. ancient time in the perspective of humanity. Somewhere above where two rivers fill the sea, at the top of the closest high hill, a being of time stands over the developing below. She can easily see the dark clouds coming from the distance of the horizing future. As any great storm chaser would know, these were clouds of war. A thin strip of sand forms a beach between the water of the sea's mouth and the overrunning jungle of the land. A single track of footprints in steady stages of quick erosion mark the past steps of the girl leaving them behind. At the moment she is now seen by all, she feels only the warmth of the lighting sun. Oblivion is her sense to the storm that will soon fall over her. The sea creeps at the isolated beach, and where the water begins its swell to wave, another mystery gently breaks through the surface and floats towards the jungle-guarded beach. The presence from the sea is just as unnoticed by the girl, her mind filled in a daylight dream. That dream will snap away by words spoken from the water. The sudden awareness of unknown company frightens the girl for the first moment, and she seeks to flee. But the jungle behind her is not a promised escape. The words from a stranger cannot be left. You are a pretty one. The sea's voice is personified by a fair-skinned woman with the glitter of the yellow sun her hair. The sea continues. You're a pretty one to be so alone, in such a place that is so alone. The beach beauty watches the sea with a fearful confusion. Both are silent. The waves time the moments in crashes. The crashes bring the alarm that is a new voice. This voice comes from behind the beach. This voice is of the jungle. The beach sands are fluttered by a sudden gust of the incoming wind. How could you think her alone, if fact shows that you are here with her? This voice is attached to the darker, dusk-light-haired woman who emerges at the tree line of the jungle's beachhead. Rifle. The sea acknowledges the jungle. I must not be surprised that you would be in the shadows watching a pretty girl. There are dangers all around. The jungle responds. My concern is for her safety. Her safety or her chastity? I understand that a woman's chastity is what your mistress craves most in existence. My mistress desires only undivided devotion to her. And which one is your mistress again? Athena or Artemis? My dear Quiver, either are deserving of complete loyalty, unlike the treacherous Aphrodite. How dare you implicate my mistress's actions of existence to be malevolence? Did I hit a nerve? And in one shot, I am good. Silence is the waves for the few moments that the beach shifts between sea and jungle. The storm winds kick up. The next wave of the sea crashes loud of the storm's inevitable landing. The beauty of this beach will decide virtue, not your poisoned arrows. Indeed. I expect then that our next encounter will be an audience of a beauty contest. A great thrill to come, I'm sure. We can look forward to celebrating your mistress's place as runner-up. The jungle gives no further response. The storm winds push the trees back into themselves. Rifle is gone. The beach sands kick up sharply into the eyes of the beauty, and the waves of the sea submerge its own voice. Quiver sinks away as well. The beauty upon the sands is now and again alone, bewildered,
afraid. Overlooking the beach, just as the storm clouds do, the ever-hunting storm chaser of time, Mania, contemplates the scene below her. An echo of thunder repeats a name.